A great day to everyone. Today, we'll be talking about assessment of learning outcomes. I will share here 6 types of assessment of learning that will answer the question, what assessments will you use to check learning? Okay, let us proceed to number 1. The Diagnostic Assessment, or often referred as pre-assessment. This assesses a student's strengths, weaknesses, knowledge, and skills prior to instruction. This can be done at the beginning of the school year, beginning of unit, beginning of a lesson, or others. If you can still remember, our teachers give us tests before we start our lesson to see if we have knowledge about it already or if we still need more explanations about it. The second type is the formative assessment. This assesses a student's performance during instruction and usually occurs regularly throughout the instruction process. This can be an easy means of checking whether students have understood lesson content while also promoting student reflection. One example is when teachers ask the students to reflect and report on their own learning. If you remember back then, our teachers would always ask us, "What do you think? What did you learn? What is your first impression?" Or other questions like that. The third type is summative assessment. It measures a student's achievement at the end of instruction. It's like talking to someone about a movie after the movie is over. So this is, I think, a common type of assessment because this is the most used type. It's when we talk about summative assessment, we think of tests, quizzes, and other graded course activities that are used to measure student performance. Within a course, summative assessment includes the system for calculating individual student grades. The next type is the NormReferenced Assessment. This is a test by comparing a person's performance to others who are similar. You can remember norm reference by thinking of the word normal. The object of a norm reference test is to compare a person's performance to what is normal for other people like him or her. Example of these assessments includes the SAT, IQ test, and tests that are graded on a curve. Thus, you're not looking at the actual scores of the students, but of how well they did in relation to students in the same age, group, grade, or class. Next, let us proceed to the opposite of norm-referenced assessment because in this assessment, the teacher wants to know a person's performance without comparing them to others. This is called CriterionReferenced Assessment. This measures a student's performance against a goal, a specific objective, or standard. This can be a kind of formative assessment and should be integrated throughout your curriculum to guide the adjustment of your teaching over time. One example can be a licensure examination for teachers, which we will be taking after graduating. Okay, let us proceed to the sixth type or the last type, which is the interim or benchmark assessment. This evaluates student performance at periodic intervals, frequently at the end of a grading period. This can predict student performance on end of the year summative assessments. Another way to think about it is a bar graph or chart growth throughout a year, wherein benchmark assessments can be useful for communicating important facts and data to parents, district officials, and others. Among other goals, inform the allotment of resources like time and money to respond to data. That is interim or benchmark assessment. And that are the 6 types of assessment of learning outcomes. That is all, and thank you very much for listening.